Hey guys, Vazzy back here, and in today's video we're going to be going over everything you can expect from the first custom roster update of the year from Tactics and myself. So this year, if you guys were not aware, we did do a collaborative file, so basically we were just handing it off between each other and working on different parts of the game. And honestly, since I have started putting out rosters in NHL 22, I can confidently say that this is, the worst that I've ever seen the launch rosters from EA. There was just so much stuff that was off this year. I put a just outrageous amount of time into this game early on here. So definitely leave this video a like. Definitely, if you are on Xbox, check out the roster. But with that all being said, let's jump into everything that you can expect from update 1 of the custom roster. Alright, so where do we want to start off here today? Let's maybe start out with the created teams. Again, if you guys have been following me on X, if you guys have seen the prior update videos, you'll know I've been adding a ton of different custom teams in that has just been continued to be expanded upon. So far we are at about 54, 55 created teams. I honestly don't even know what the max is at this point. But I think it's pretty safe to say everything that I do have in for this video here showing you guys, that is going to be the total amount of created teams shown at launch. Definitely in the future, I want to add in World Junior teams. I want to hopefully get to the PWHL and hopefully the Four Nations Face-Off, as well as many others, but we'll see what comes down the road. All these teams do have accurate jerseys, or at least as accurate as I could make them in-game. I'll go and I'll show you guys a few of them here. Alaska Ice Eagles, shout out to X-Tech. But I know last year a lot of the jerseys that I added in for creative teams, they're all just kind of default right off the start. But, I wanted to improve upon that this year and try and get things to where they should be right from the start, in opposed of having to go back and re-edit everything and give the teams the correct jerseys. So now, as you'll see, not going to go through everyone here. I will have guides going through the teams at a later date, but you see here like the Minnesota Wild Subway jerseys. Hopefully they go back to those at some point, but you do have those as an option now if you want them for a franchise mode team. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this took a very, very long time. Doing all the research, going through all the YouTube series, going through all the historic jerseys, and trying to get everything as accurate as possible. Shout out, you have the 2BC, you have the D-Generation X jerseys at launch, ready to go for the Stallions. And yeah, just wanted to try and keep that attention to detail. You have the Storm Bears there, absolutely legendary run there. You have the Utah Yeti from 2BC, obviously just concluded in NHL 24, another great series run. And yeah, just wanted to give you guys all the options that I could possibly give you guys. If you want to use these teams, awesome. If not, that's totally alright. But it's really meant to just kind of be like a sandbox for you guys. If you want to use these teams in custom leagues, go ahead. If you want to use them as expansion teams, go ahead. If you just want to rebrand a team, options are there for you guys. It is totally up to you how you use them. So I think that's basically everything I have for created teams. Let's move on to the other part of the creation zone, that being created players. And once again, if you guys know and have been following, you know that I'm at quite a decent amount of created players for this first update. Not every prospect per se. Some of the 6th and 7th rounders didn't get in just yet. They will hopefully be added in future updates. But yeah, we're at, I want to say 500 somewhere around there. I do have to point out one known bug with anyone who was drafted in 2024. There's a glitch right now where you can't actually assign the draft year as 2024. And if you leave it blank, sometimes the computer just cuts the player. So unfortunately, guys like Laterno here, you have Levshinov, you have Demidov. Unfortunately, those guys are likely going to be appearing a year older than they should be. Hopefully it's something that EA can patch rather quick for us. And I'll go through all the players that, have been drafted in 2024 that I added in here. Give them the correct draft year, and then obviously give them the correct age as well. So just a little bit of a warning for you guys. Players will appear an extra year older. Not ideal, but it does get it to work in franchise mode. But yeah, we're somewhere in the range, I want to say, 500 created players or so. Just continue to add upon that. Obviously, you have future draft classes, you have guys that have been drafted, you have guys that are alumni, then you have Easter egg players. there's a little bit of everything in there for you guys. So again, just have fun with it and see what you can come up with. I'm gonna jump into franchise mode here quickly to show you guys some of the changes actually in the mode itself. If you guys haven't used any of my custom rosters before, you'll see here, let's just go check on Demidov here quick on the Canadiens. You'll see that now since he's been added, he will just appear as an unsigned player for the Montreal Canadiens. They're the only team that will have his right. Like I said, he will be 19 instead of 18, but that is the only way to get the Canadiens to hold his rights. Obviously, you have other guys, tons of guys on all the other teams. You have Jacob Fowler there. And really, we could basically go through every NHL team at this point and show you guys, you know, how their roster is made up and everything like that. Flyers here, I don't think there's anyone too crazy. You just have some of the more minor guys. And like I said, I've been trying to go back the past, at least to 2020, the draft year, and trying to add in all those players that, you know, at this point still, for whatever reason, haven't been added in the game, whether they're in the KHL, whether they're still NCAA players, or they're just in some league that obviously the NHL doesn't have the rights to just yet. Going to the Leafs here again, there's no one that's too crazy here, but you still do have some of their minor players. And then if you guys are the GM, you can sign those players whenever you want, you can let them go, you can do whatever you would like. One more thing here in franchise mode I want to show you guys is now all of the teams will be cap compliant right from the start. Honestly, this wasn't too much of an issue, but you know, we go through here, you can see everyone does have the right contracts, there's no money being added. Columbus was a team I had issues with, obviously, with the unfortunate passing of Johnny Gaudreau. Did leave a hole in the salary cap, so I gave a guy like Olivier on a one-year deal, just a big payday, to make sure that they were compliant. Vegas and Toronto, Tampa also gave me issues. You can see that they are now fixed. See, everyone's getting the right amount of money there. I had to lower Tavares, but that was just to get it to work on a one-year deal. And same thing with Tampa Bay there. So the whole league should be all good to go right from the start. Obviously, the AI will do weird things as you progress, but there's, you know, not too much, unfortunately, we can do about that. And last thing I want to get into here today is just the total overhaul that myself and Tactics did of all the ratings in-game. And I cannot stress and say how long this took. This was probably 4 or 5 10-hour days in a row of just getting everything to where it should be. I kind of want to bring up my system here in a moment. Where's the Oilers? So Connor McDavid, 97 overall. He's going to be the top player in game. Obviously, that makes sense. I think most of us can agree upon that. Nobody is going to reach 97. Nobody's even going to reach a 96. I want to have that separation. Also here, going the next step lower, you have guys like a Nikita Kucherov. You have guys like a Cale Makar. You have guys like a Nathan McKinnon. Those are the guys that are going to come in at 95. I also believe I have Matthews still at a 95. So that is just the tier below a Connor McDavid. Still obviously the best players in game, but will be a few points below the GOAT McDavid. And then just underneath that, you have guys like, yep, Panarin 93, you have a Kaprizov at 93, and it just kind of helps with the leveling and makes everything make a little bit more sense in game. And basically I just went through every player, more or less at least in the NHL, just kind of went through all their stats and everything. One by one, I have my own little rating system and kind of looked at a 2 to 3 year rating scale to come up with a rating. Also wanted to move on here. So some of the younger guys that myself and Tactics noticed had way too high of ratings. Faber at an 86 right now. Honestly, I think that's okay. You look at a guy like Bedard, who is fighting for the Calder all year, comes in an 87. So it just kind of goes to what really makes sense and how did these players honestly do in their rookie seasons coming up to where they should be. You have a guy like Logan Stankoven, who was 84 overall after playing 24 NHL games. I love Stankoven, he's going to be great, but is he really an 84 already? No, I definitely wouldn't say so. So again, it just kind of got to go through it and see what was that kind of logical leveling of these players, where they're at, coming up with appropriate ratings and potentials. Another bad team was the Blue Jackets for this. You have a guy like Adam Fantilli. He had a good rookie year, 27 points, was injured for a bit. That's not an 85 right off the start. Let these guys grow. Let these guys progress at their own rate. So you just kind of have to go through and see where all these guys fit, where it makes sense. You have a Ken Johnson, 16 points. Is he really deserving of an 84 at this point? I wouldn't say so. So he goes down to an 81, still has that potential. And then lastly here, same thing with a David Jiricek. 80 overall, decent defender, probably more of a bottom 6 right now, but he will grow and become one of those top pairing defensemen in the league. So again, took just so much work going through all this stuff, but hopefully it should make a lot more sense for you guys. Oh, actually I had one more thing here I did want to get into here quickly for you guys. With all the players who made their team out of camp, a guy like a Jet Luchenko, they will be on the roster here day one. We've gone through and tried to make all the rosters as accurate as possible from all the announcements that the teams have made. So you have a Seamus Casey here on the Devils, and we could go through all these teams once again. I'll be showing these off in future videos over the course of the next couple of weeks. But we more or less just kind of wanted to recreate the season opening lineups that, have been announced from the teams here. You have a guy like Ratu who made the Vancouver Canucks, and you can go on and on with all the different examples. I think the last thing I really wanted to show off here was basically any of the guys that were in juniors that now are overagers that are playing in the AHL. I have moved over. Perfect example, a Nate Danielson. Wasn't going to be going back to juniors once again this year. Elite Prospects lists him as a Grand Rapid Griffin, so players like that were moved over to the AHL. There is still overagers in the junior leagues, but if they're not drafted or whatever, I just left them for now. It's not a big deal, so absolute ton of work going into this version of the custom roster. If you guys do want to download this and you are on Xbox, go to roster sharing, go under download community files. It's not up just yet. I'm recording this prior to release, but it will be under VASI X TacTix-Update 1. Going to be following a similar format for all the updates this year. Unfortunately, it is locked to Xbox, but if you guys do want to download it, that is where you can find it. And other than that, I think that's going to more or less do it for today's video. Just want to give a huge thank you to TacTix for helping out with the roster. Again, I would have been definitely quite a bit further behind than I am now if he hadn't stepped in and, taken parts of the project to make it a little bit easier for both of us to get done. And I also just want to give a big thank you to all of you guys. The support I've got just since the start of NHL 25, even before that and everything, it's just been absolutely insane. So huge thank you to you guys for all of that. Is absolutely the reason why I want to keep bringing you guys, hopefully the best quality rosters as I possibly can. But yeah, I think that is going to do it for today's video. Definitely leave a comment down below if you guys got a chance to try the roster, or any feedback, you have any suggestions, anything like that. Definitely always open to listening to stuff like that. But that'll do it for this one. I will see you all in the next video.